Hi everyone, welcome to my large-scale class. I really like this class and I will try to explain to you step by step how to create a statement piece. When you think about creating a large scale, everything is about your branches. If you have beautiful branches, you will create something beautiful. So the first thing that you have to look for is what's going to be your branches, because the branches are going to give you the shape, the drama that you need when you create a large-scale arrangement. The other thing that is very important is your container. You need something that feels very beautiful and heavy and very dramatic. The difference between doing a large scale and a centerpiece is that large scale is a little bit faster. It's not as scared as detailed as centerpiece. It's more about creating drama. It's more about creating something that when people arrive to the lobby of a hotel or when they arrive to a church or something, they just go, wow. But that wow is given by the branches. It's given by the flowers that you have, yes, but it's more about the shape. It's more about the drama that you will create with the branches that you have. So to create something like that in an urn like this one, and I'm going to try to show you how this one looks like inside, you usually will need what we call the frogs, the pink frogs, Ideally, I would have liked to have a big one, but I don't have. So you can stick 3, and those will be very important to have the support that you need for your big branches, because the chicken wire on its own won't do it for you. So try to get 1 or 2 kensans. You don't need more, even if it's just 1 small, to support the big branches, and the rest you can do it with a chicken wire. The other thing that you have to consider is that usually cast urns are not waterproof. So maybe you have to put a plastic bag inside, or you have to put a bucket inside, and then that will contain the water that you need. But this one is waterproof, so I can do it here without having to put a liner inside. So how do you place the chicken wire after having your frogs or your kensans? So I have already cut it for you, otherwise it will be an endless class. So again, we're going to try to make 3 times the size of our urn, but inside where the frogs are, I have made a little hole so that I don't cover the kensans or the frogs with my chicken wire. So I'm going to show you how the first layer looks like, So this is how we did it on the centerpieces. And then I'm going to place a second and a third layer, trying to create as much structure as I can. So I'm going to shape this. Hold on a little bit. And once I've done it, I'm going to tape it the same way we did in the centerpiece. Take your time to prepare your vessels before going on site, because remember, I'm pretty sure you won't be able to transport this, so it's better if you do it on site, that you have everything prepared so that you can just start working as soon as you arrive to the site that you're doing this. So more or less it's going to look like this. Okay, so now I'm going to tape it, and then we're going to add water, and we're going to start. So you should really secure your tape. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add more tape to the side. I'll show you in a second. And if you feel that your chicken wire is loose, try to just make sure that you secure it until you are happy, because there's nothing more frustrating than placing the branches and having the chicken wire moving. The same happened with the frogs. As you can see, I didn't glue them right now. I glued them yesterday night, because if you don't wait at least 1 hour for them to dry, and if you add water, they will just come off and I've done centerpieces where suddenly the Kensan or the frog comes off, and it's so frustrating. So just take your time to glue them and leave them to rest, and then you will be able to add water with no problem. So I'm just gonna leave it like that because this is not going anywhere, but ideally you would like to have a cross, okay? But I'm happy for me to work like this here, and as I'm telling you, this is not going anywhere, so I'm happy with it, okay? So I'm gonna add water now. And now it's gonna get very heavy. Again, make sure that the water level is quite high because sometimes we're gonna cross the stems and we wanna make sure that each one of them have something to drink, have water to drink. So, now it's ready for me to start. And the first thing that you have to do is to create the shape. So it's exactly the same as centerpiece. Foliage is not a mechanic thing. Foliage is the one that's going to guide the shape of your arrangement. So it's so important that you define the shape really beautiful. So for that, you need really beautiful branches. And I have here from the garden, which is quite fun, these blueberries. So, and to place your branches inside a frog, you really need to sharpen your branch. If you want to place a branch and you have cut it straight, it's impossible to go through the pins. So you have to make sure that you have really make very sharp end to your branch before you place it. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna try to place it so that the effect is that this branch is peeling down my arrangement. So I'm trying to find the right spot. Let me see here. And that's it. It's gonna come inside this frog. There. It feels safe and secure. Okay? So, when you place your branches in a large scale, don't be shy. Go out of the arrangement. If you stay quite close to it, it will always look out of proportion. And you want to make sure that the arrangement looks way bigger than the base. So if you stay with, like small branches and you stayed quite shy inside here, it will never look that dramatic. So I think I want to move this one to the side a little bit now that I'm seeing. And I think I have to sharpen actually the edge a little bit more so that goes inside the pin even better. So I'm gonna cut it a little bit more, and I want to place it somewhere here, I think so. So I think that's there. So the second branch will be the one that goes quite high. So never underestimate the amount of branches you need for a large scale. You need actually a lot. So again, I'm gonna cut my branch. I'm gonna sharpen my branch so that it can go inside the frog. And I want something that feels like it's going like this and then goes like that. So it's the same principle of the centerpiece. You want to create like waves. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna add this one and try to put it in the frog. There. Okay. I'm gonna keep going with the shape. And when you're doing something like this, you don't want to cross the branches. So it's nice that all the branches follow the same line. So I wouldn't place this one like this or something that feels unnatural, because if you think about how a tree goes, they follow the same line. They have very graceful shapes. So I'm going to try to do the same here. And I'm going to try to follow the same line of this one when I place this one. And I'm going to go somewhere there. maybe a little bit more open. And again, I'm gonna cut the end so that she can go inside the frog. And don't get frustrated if at the beginning a lot of these branches move. It's just the way it is. That's why a frog is so helpful, because it really makes them stay. Okay, and now I'm going to use a lower branch to start anchoring a little bit my foliage. So when you start placing lower foliage, this will get more secured. So I'm going to cut this one again here. And I could go into the frog or just use a chicken wire. I'll see where this one fits better. It's quite short, so it doesn't really matter if I only use the chicken wire for it. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna place this one. This one is bothering me a little bit. We can use that one for styling later. But I'm gonna place this one somewhere here. And the more foliage I add at this level, the more secure these branches will feel. I really want to make sure that the center it's cleared, so it's not so heavy, so that it can have my flowers coming here. So in a little bit, I will go the other way around and I'll show you how we'll do that. But I think I can keep going with these ones. And because I really like how the blueberries look, I'll try to place this one somewhere here. So I'm gonna come here. And again, I wanna make sure that the blueberries are spilling out of my base and I don't lose them. So I think I'm gonna place it somewhere here. I'm really designing looking in the back, so when I go to the front, I'll see if this looks fine. Otherwise, I will change it. But I wanted to show you how you can start. And now I'm ready to go to the front and start placing the flowers. So we're gonna do that now. So now we're gonna keep adding the foliage, and remember something that is really important is you don't want to keep symmetrical. When you do a large scale, you want to have shapes that look quite asymmetrical. So one thing that maybe you could think that you could do is add another branch like this one, exactly like the same height as this one here, but that will look like a cascade, something like that. And you really want to keep it more stylish. So I'm going to give you an example. Let me try to find the right shape. So can you see, if I place this one here, what is nice is that the shape goes like that, and the effect is very different than if I had something just spilling down here. So I want you to see the difference. When you keep asymmetrical, when you do something like this, it's more graceful, and the line is more beautiful. So always remember not to do the same line in one side and in the other, but try to keep it a little bit different, okay? Always trying to make something that goes like that. So I'm gonna place this one here because it looks very pretty. And it really makes this line more beautiful. Again, I'm gonna try to pin the frog just to secure this branch somewhere here. Yeah, I think that's fine. Hold on, I'm gonna make it a little bit more to the side, and for that I'm just gonna cut this one. Can you see again? And I'm gonna place this one somewhere here. Maybe facing more. Yeah, so that I can have this line here. So I'm gonna add another piece of foliage on the back. And don't be afraid of editing your branches. Sometimes you have to step back and see if there is enough air in your branch. So if it looks a little bit bushy, if it looks a little bit full, you can just trim some of the leaves out, and that makes it look more airy. So I'm gonna, the distance between them, the airiness between them makes the flow nicer and creates more movement. So I'm gonna add this one here. Yeah, I think that's good. And I want to keep something going on there. Again, I'm looking for shapes that are very like a ballerina, you know, something that feels like it's moving a lot. So I'm gonna try to place this one somewhere here. And I'm gonna look for a frog where I can pin this one. And try to use also the support of the chicken wire because she's quite heavy. And I think that's great. So now the next step is, well, before that, I'm gonna use all these little ones just because I think these ones are very beautiful and I don't wanna waste them. And if I make a little cluster of blueberries here, it's gonna look very pretty. So all the ones that I'm cutting, I'm not gonna waste them. I'm gonna use them here. And maybe also this one. And remember, once you do something like this, you don't want to shadow it later with flowers. So this is the moment where my arrangement will go from here, will get quite close to the base here, and then grow in that direction. Okay. The next step, it's going to be adding a little bit of color, adding a little bit of, you know, that dramatic moment. And for that, I chose this beautiful geranium. Again, you don't have to buy everything in the market. You can have some things in the nursery house, in the plant house. So this one is a geranium, and I think it's incredibly beautiful. And it's gonna give this arrangement the drama that we need. So if I have something as beautiful as this one, I don't want to hide her inside my arrangement. I want her to come out. I want her to be very important in my arrangement. So I'm going to spill her somewhere here, and that's going to start to build the color palette that I want for this arrangement. So I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to try to place her somewhere here where you can see that cluster of color coming out. So I'm going to try to be gentle with this one and try to find exactly the right place. And I think that's going to look absolutely great. If I have to move it later, I'll move it. But I think this is going to be that moment that's going to create the drama that I need also, not only in shape, but in color. The same as we did in centerpieces, we need to have a filler. Filler is going to be that color that's going to make this arrangement more bold. And the color palette is different again. We talked about that in centerpieces. If you create something with a bed of green, than if you create something with a bed of color. So again, yarrow is my best friend when it's filler that we're talking about. And I'm going to use some of this yarrow, and I'm going to place this one quite low, you know? So I want you to see the effect that this creates when it's behind this geranium. It's very different. And if you had just a piece of green, let me grab one so that I can show you. I'm just going to make an example for you so that you can see. I want you to see that this is a different color proposition than if you have this one underneath, okay? So this is what we do when we do the bed. We create a color palette. So I'm going to start doing the same as we did in centerpieces, adding pieces of yarrow from one side of the arrangement to the other side of my arrangement in different levels, always creating waves, always creating movement. Don't cut them too short. I was going to cut them as I cut them for centerpieces, but this one needs to be taller. And when we were doing centerpieces, we didn't want it to have so heavy pieces because it was going to look too heavy or maybe too much. But this one is a large scale. So this is the thing that is nice when you're doing something like that is that you can use bigger flowers and then you can go faster. And remember, you only have maybe half an hour or maybe an hour when you're doing this in a church or in an event. So you have to learn to get faster when you're doing your large scale. So I'm gonna add this one here. And I'm gonna go from one side to the other, just adding my yarrow. Always, always, always different levels. Two things that you should never underestimate the amount of material that you need: branches and fillers. Can you see how I'm going quite low? I am not staying in the same level, but I really want to create this moment of coming inside and then go up again. Gonna go more inside, and then the next one is gonna go quite high. Here. Most of the times, these arrangements are done just with one face, except if they're going to be used for a round big table in a lobby. You will have these ones, usually most of the time placed in an entrance or something, and they only have one face. So you don't really have to worry about worrying the back. I'll show you what we will do if this was going to go for a round table. But for now, I'm going to pretend that this only has a face, and I'm going to work to show you how we would do that, okay? So two more pieces of yarrow, and then I'm going to start adding the roses. I love roses for large scale. I think they become more romantic and just, I don't know, more sensuous. So I really like it. So I always buy Majolica or any type of spray rose that I can use for this. And it also looks more natural. Okay. Now I'm going to start adding my roses. And again, this is a spray rose from the Wavara collection. This is from a local grower. It's my absolute favorite rose. And again, they age so graceful. So I can really open them and show the center. And these ones, believe it or not, have been sitting in my studio already 2 weeks. Can you believe that? 2 weeks. So it's pretty amazing how much they last in a vase. And they feel a little bit soft, but they won't die, you know? They will age really well. They will dry a little bit like that, and it's very unlikely that she will lose her petals. And if she does, she does. It also looks nice in a large scale. So a large scale is not about detail, it's not about close-up perfection. It's about drama. So, again, remember, I already placed my blueberries there. I'm not going to lose them. So I wouldn't come and add this rose here because then I would be losing what I already did. So when you're doing a large scale, always try to enhance what you did before instead of covering it. So I'm going to add this one here. And I'm going to place a line of roses that's going to go from one side to the other side of my arrangement. One thing that is really nice is when you're doing one piece like this one and you have limited time, is that you can just use the cluster of roses without doing much. When we were doing the centerpieces, we were taking more attention to maybe take the little babies or maybe making them a little bit less bulky. But in this case, you can just go fast and add them because what you need is cluster of colors. I'm just gonna take this one out, just one, because I need more movement. And this one is going to go quite low in here. I'm trying to find the right spot. Somewhere there. It has to be a little bit more separated. Yeah, and lower. I'm going to try one more time. So that's why we talk about doing a clean chicken wire tech. Otherwise, it's so hard to try different spots for a plate, for a rose or for a flower. Especially roses, because they have thorns. So it's so hard to pull them out if you have a messy chicken wire. So I'm going to try one more time here. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. And remember, you don't want your flowers all to look in the same direction. You want some of your flowers to look in to one side, and maybe some of them are looking this direction, and that makes it look more natural. I still can't find the right place for her. I think it's going to be there. Just let me see if I can go inside the frog. Yeah, that's better. I'm going to add 2 more. And I really like the shape of this one. Can you see how it's very graceful? So I'm not going to get rid of that, and I'm actually just going to open all of them. Also, it's nice to open them because you can't imagine how many flowers you need for a piece like that. So if your budget is limited, be wise when you buy your flowers. Maybe you need a little bit bigger roses, and that will make it, you go more miles with less money when you're using bigger flowers. But if you open them, they also give you some more mileage. So I'm gonna open this one a little bit more. And don't open all of them, because if you see in nature, you will never find all of them open at the same time. So it's nice to have some of them open and some of them close. I just think that's more graceful. So I'm just gonna add this one here all the way to the back, looking this direction. Okay, that's good. I wanna open this one because she's looking to the front a little bit more. So I'm gonna take these babies out just of this one, because the buds are very pretty. But in this one, because she's really looking front, I'm just gonna make sure that she's really open, because this is one of the places where the eye will get drawn to. Okay, so now I want to mix those roses with another color, So I think I'm going to go for this one. But before I do that, I'm going to add a deeper color. So let me try different things, and then I'll tell you how we will do it. But I think these ones will work really well. Or maybe this one. Can you see how beautiful is this dahlia? We have 3 of those that just opened today in the garden, and that's quite nice. And I just really like the color palette with these ones, but also these ones will make it really nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a line of these ones, the deeper burgundy ones, lower, and then I'm going to make these ones go out a little bit, okay? So I'm going to grab all the burgundy ones, and I'm going to go again the same way I did with the yarrow. You went from one side to the other one. I'm going to do the same, but with these ones deeper. So I'm going to come here and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way there. So what is nice about that is that you had this moment of deeper color, then you go lighter, and then you go deeper again. Do you remember when we were talking in centerpieces, you don't want to splash a flower like this one all over the place. You want to group them, and the effect of colors is stronger. Otherwise, it just looks like polka dots. So old-fashioned way of doing floral design would have more like a fan of flowers. You know, it will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And for me, it looks less natural. So when you group them, also the effect is more natural, you know? That's a little bit how things grow in nature. So I'm gonna just cut these ones and start adding them without, again, I don't want to shadow my blueberries. I really like this moment coming in. So I'm just gonna go find the right place for this one.